Long ago, in the quiet village of Mbali, lived a young boy named Kwame. He was raised by his grandmother, a gentle woman everyone called Na, though she was his father's mother. To Kwame, she was the only mother he had ever truly known. Her kindness had touched every soul in Bali, and her knowledge of healing herbs made her a cherished elder. Nea was a healer, gifted in the ways of nature. She cured fevers, stomach pains, and strange illnesses with plants she found deep in the wild. Kwame had faint memories of his real mother, her soft voice, her tired eyes. She had passed when he was just 5. Before leaving this world, she gave him a sacred token, a wooden carving of the Nsiro tree, the tree of courage. The carving was round, showing only half of the tree, as if unfinished. With a fading voice she told him, no matter what happens, never lose this, speak your heart to it, and I will come. He never knew his father. Whenever Kwame asked, Na would look away and fall silent, sorrow hanging heavy in the air. Despite the unanswered questions, Kwame stayed close to Na. Together, they sold herbs and roots. People from near and far came when the white man's medicine failed. Na would walk long distances to find rare leaves. On market days, she sent Kwame to gather special barks and beeswax. She taught him everything she knew how to grind, mix, boil, and bless. As Kwame grew stronger, Nea grew frailer. Her body weakened, her steps slowed, and one day, she could no longer rise from her mat. Though Kwame had learned much, people still trusted Nea's hands more than his. Without her, their only income dwindled. He left school to care for her, setting aside his dreams. A few loyal villagers still came, but many turned to the white man's healing ways. The coins in their gourd became fewer. Some days, there was only one meal to share. To survive, Kwame began carrying stones at construction sites. But those jobs were rare, and many strong men fought over them. The work was hard, the pay low. Yet Kwame endured, day after day, just to keep Nea alive and their hut standing. For 3 long years he labored under the sun, barely earning enough to buy millet or yams. One day, a friend from Bali, who had moved to the city, returned. He saw Kwame's tired eyes and worn hands and said, "There is work in the city, brother. Come with me, there's hope there." Kwame remembered Nea's words, "A lion does not sleep while his family starves." With her blessing, he packed his carving of the Nsiro tree and left for the unknown. But the city was a different world. The noise crashed into his ears like thunder. The crowds moved like waves, never stopping. He shared a tiny, stuffy room with 5 other laborers. Each morning, he walked through dusty streets, searching for work, refusing to return empty-handed. After weeks of struggle, Kwame found a job as a cleaner in a tall glass building owned by Chief Damba, a wealthy man with power and presence. The building sparkled, full of people in crisp clothes walking swiftly with purpose. Kwame moved silently, broom in hand, making the floors shine. He was careful, quiet, invisible. Then one morning, he saw her, a young woman with a radiant smile that softened the room. She walked with grace and wore kindness like a crown. Her name, he later learned, was Zola Chief Damba's daughter. She often came to help with community events. Unlike others, she looked Kwame in the eyes, smiled, and sometimes even spoke. Each time, his heart raced like a drum in festival season. He knew it was foolish to dream of her. He, the cleaner boy from Bali, and she, the daughter of a powerful chief. His friends warned him, "Stay away, she is not for you. The sun and earth do not meet." But Kwame couldn't help himself. It wasn't just her beauty, it was her humility, her warmth. That one afternoon, as he wiped down the lobby tiles, she approached him with a soft voice. "You always keep this place so clean." She said, "Thank you." Kwame's face burned with surprise. "Thank you, Miss Zola, I just try my best," he replied. She smiled again. "You do a wonderful job. How long have you been working here?" "A few months," he said shyly. I came from Mbali. I needed to find work. To take care of. My grandmother. Zola's eyes lit up. That must have been a big change. How are you finding the city? Quaim shared just a little about his struggles, the noise, the loneliness, and the quiet fire inside him to make Na's life better. Zola listened with full attention, her gentle eyes fixed on Quaim's face. Days quietly slipped into weeks, and soon Quaim began looking forward to her visits more than anything else. Each time she passed through the lobby, their short conversations brought a warmth to his heart that no sunlight could match. Though his friends continued to whisper warnings, reminding him that she came from a world far above his, Quaim cherished every second he spent in her presence. One evening, as Quaim finished mopping the final floor, he heard his name echo across the corridor. It was Zola. She looked worried. Quaim, I need your help, she said quickly. There's a charity gathering tomorrow, and we're short on helping hands. Could you join us? Quaim agreed instantly. Any chance to be close to her was more than enough for him. The next day, they worked side by side, setting up tables and arranging chairs. Quaim couldn't help but marvel at the way Zola moved with such purpose. She treated every volunteer with kindness, from the highest guest to the youngest child who came to help. When the event finally ended and the crowd had faded, Zola pulled Quaim aside. Thank you for your help today, she said, her voice soft but steady. I couldn't have managed without you, Quaim smiled humbly. It was truly my pleasure, Miss Zola. I'm always ready to help. She hesitated for a breath, then said, You work hard, and you have a good heart. Don't let anyone make you feel small. Keep believing in yourself. Those words struck something deep inside Quaim. Thank you, Miss Zola, he replied, his voice tight with emotion. What you've said, it means more than you know. As she walked away, he stood still, realizing just how much his feelings for her had grown. Despite the warnings and the divide between their worlds, he began to believe just maybe he could bridge that gap. With this fragile hope in his chest, Quaim kept working hard, holding on to the thought that one day something might change. But their growing closeness did not go unnoticed. Soon, Chief Damba learned of his daughter's quiet friendship with the poor cleaner. His fury roared like thunder. Zola, he said sternly, you are the daughter of the Damba family. You will not disgrace our name by mingling with a floor sweeper. It is beneath you. But father, Zola pleaded, Quaim is a good man. He is kind and works harder than anyone I've seen. Chief Damba's face tightened with anger, yet his hand often drifted to his chest as if something pained him deep inside. I do not care, he growled. You are forbidden from seeing him or speaking to him again. From that day forward, whenever Zola came to the building, security was ordered to escort her directly to Chief Damba's office. Quaim watched her from across the hallways, his eyes full of longing, his hands silently lifting in greeting. But Zola would simply lower her gaze and walk past him, guarded and distant. His friends saw it all and shook their heads. We told you, they said. A girl like that. She doesn't belong in your world. Quaim said nothing. But inside something broke. That night, sleep did not find him. With heavy hands he picked up his phone and called home. Auntie, the kind helper who stayed with Na, answered. Auntie, he said, please give the phone to Na. He told his grandmother everything about Zola, the hope, the hurt, the silence. And as she always did, Na spoke words that wrapped around him like a warm cloth. When he hung up, the pain in his chest had softened, and sleep slowly came. What Chief Damba didn't know was that trying to keep the two apart only made their hearts beat louder for one another. Time passed, but their longing remained. Then, fate intervened again. One afternoon, Zola accidentally spilled her coffee in the office kitchen. Quaim happened to be nearby and rushed over with a cloth. I'm so sorry for the mess, she said with a shy smile. No problem, Miss Zola, he replied, hiding his joy behind polite words. It's part of my job. But as they stood there, Quaim noticed a sadness hidden behind her usual glow. "I miss our talks," Zola whispered, glancing over her shoulder to make sure no one saw them. Quaim nodded, his voice low. "I do too. It's been hard. Not seeing you." They stood quietly for a few more seconds, the silence saying more than words could. Days passed, but the longing only grew. Then, one morning while cleaning the storage room, Quaim found a small folded paper tucked between the buckets. His hands trembled as he read it. "Meet me in the garden during lunch." It was signed with the simple name Zola. Excited, nervous, and unsure, Quaim went to the garden at the appointed hour. Hidden behind the tall hedges, Zola waited. "I'm glad you came," she said softly. "I've missed you so much." "I've missed you too, Zola," he replied, barely believing this moment was real. He felt it in his soul. This was the time to finally speak his truth. "Zola, he began, but before he could finish, she sneezed. Once, then again. Her face grew pale, and her hand trembled slightly. "Are you all right?" Quaim asked, stepping closer. "I'm not sure," she murmured. "I think I'm coming down with something." "I can't stay, Quaim. I'm not feeling well." He watched, heart sinking, as she turned to leave. "Wait, at least give me your number," he called out, "so I can check on you later." She scribbled it down quickly and handed it to him. Then she was gone, walking away with hurried steps. Quaim stood there, staring at the numbers on the tiny piece of paper, his heart fluttering like a drum in the rain. That evening, back in the cramped room he called home, Quaim sat on his mat and stared at his small, worn phone. He thought of calling her. He wanted to hear her voice, to know she was okay. He couldn't think of anything else. As soon as he reached his small room, he picked up his phone and called Zola. Her voice came through low and raspy, like dry wind through old trees. They couldn't talk for long, but just hearing her made his heart settle. The next day, as promised, Quaim stood quietly in the garden, watching every path. When Zola arrived, she moved slowly, her face pale. "I'm here," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. "Just like you said." Quaim nodded and gently handed her a small bundle wrapped in newspaper. "This is for you," he said. "Boil it and drink it. It will clear your chest and bring your strength back." Zola smiled, though weakly. "You didn't have to go through so much trouble," she said. "I already bought some medicine." But Quaim assured her, "This will work faster, trust me." He softly urged her to go home and rest, seeing how much she struggled to speak. Though worry lingered in his chest, Quaim was filled with joy. That entire day, he whistled while he worked. The other office staff stared at him with confusion and even disgust, but Quaim didn't care. In his heart he was singing. That evening, like the one before, he called her again. "Hello, Miss Zola, it's me," he said, but this time a deep male voice answered. "You don't need to say your name every time, village boy. It's on the screen, and don't call Zola again." The line cut off before Quaim could say another word. He stood frozen, the phone still pressed to his ear, confusion clouding his mind. Who was that man? And why did he sound so cruel? He couldn't wait for the next day. But when he arrived at work, Zola didn't come. Every chance he got, Quaim returned to the garden, hoping to see her. But the bench remained empty. He thought of calling her again, but the warning from the night before echoed in his mind. Before the day ended, a worker came and told him, "Chief Damba wants to see you." Now, the blood drained from Quaim's face. His friends looked at him with sympathy, as if he were walking toward a lion's den. With heavy feet, Quaim followed the man to the top floor. Chief Damba sat behind his great desk, eyes hard and unmoving. "I heard from Zola's fiancé that you've been calling her," he said coldly. "You are to stop immediately. My daughter is about to marry her equal, a man with standing, a man of worth. You, boy, must know your place." Quaim opened his mouth to speak, but the chief raised a hand. "Don't interrupt me. You have no degree, no wealth, no background. What can you offer my daughter?" His words stabbed deeper than any blade. "Leave." That was all he said. Kwam. He walked out, his chest heavy with shame. People often treated him like dirt underfoot, but hearing it so directly crushed his spirit. As he passed through the hall, it felt like every pair of eyes was watching. He slid his hand into his pocket and gripped the suro tree carving his mother had left him. His eyes stung. He wished, just for a moment, that the earth would swallow him whole. The workday was over, and Kwame picked up his lunch bag and fled the building. That night, he thought of quitting for good. But when he remembered needing, he found the strength to return the next morning. Days later, Kwame found himself assigned to a new director's office. The man was bitter, cruel, and took pleasure in humiliating him. He would deliberately throw papers on the floor, only to call Kwame in to clean. Every time Kwame bent down to gather them, the man tossed more. It was like a game Kwame was forced to play. Then one day, as Kwame was on his knees collecting another stack of crumpled documents, Zola walked in. She paused, watching the scene unfold. "Nendi, stop it," she said sharply, her voice cutting through the air. "Kwame, leave those, go." Her eyes burned with anger. From that day on, things got worse. Director Ndi made it his mission to torment Kwame, spilling coffee, knocking books, calling him in for every petty mess. One morning, Kwame snapped. "Sir," he said calmly, "could you please use the rubbish bin under your desk instead of throwing everything on the floor?" The man smirked. "If I do that, what will you do with your life?" "I'm keeping you useful." It hit Kwame, then the voice. It was the same one he'd heard on Zola's phone. Director Ndi was her finance. Acute. With his patience burned to ash, Kwame gathered his few things and walked away from the office, from the building, from the city. But before leaving, he gave one final request to a trusted friend. "Please deliver this letter to Zola." In the letter, he spilled his heart like ink onto paper. He told her everything, what had happened, how deeply he had cared, how thankful he was for every kind word, every smile. And then he said goodbye. He knew he had to return home to where his spirit could heal. When he arrived in Mbali, Na embraced him tightly, tears glistening in her aged eyes. She listened as he told her why he had left the city, why he had walked away from Zola and the life he tried to build. She nodded gently. "You did the right thing, Kwame. If it gave you peace, then it was the right path. Don't worry about money. You, your heart, your breath, your peace matter more." Kwame had managed to save a small pouch of coins from his city job. Inspired by the things he had seen in town, he started a small shop in the village, a chemist stall, that sold both traditional herbs and Western medicine. Though his heart still ached for Zola, he knew she could never truly be his. So he poured his energy into the business. The villagers came, the shelves filled, and the little shop grew. He and Na began to live more comfortably. Months passed like quiet footsteps. Then one morning, the unexpected happened. Kwame's phone rang. It was her. Zola. Her voice, trembling with urgency. "Kwame, I need to tell you something." "It's something important," Zola said softly, "but I can't say it over the phone. Please, can you tell me how to get to your village?" Her voice shook as she spoke. The very next day, Zola arrived in Mbali. When Kwame opened the door and saw her standing there, it was as if all the weight of the world had lifted. They ran to each other, embraced tightly, not wanting to let go. "I love you," Zola confessed, her cheeks soaked in tears. "I walked out of my wedding. I couldn't go through with it. I couldn't leave knowing I hadn't told you how I truly feel." She explained how her father had chosen Ndi for her, the son of an old friend and heir to a fortune. But Zola had followed her heart instead, even if it meant turning her back on everything. They sat beneath the wide, sheltering shade of an old Iroko tree. Just as the sun softened, the calm was broken by the roar of engines. Several sleek cars rolled into the compound, and the air grew heavy. Chief Danba Ndi, and his parents stormed out in fury. Ndi, seething with rage, charged at Quaim and shoved him to the ground. In the scuffle, Quaim's carved Suro tree token tumbled from his pocket. Chief Damba grabbed Zola's arm, barking that she would come home and marry Ndi. But something strange happened. Ndi and his parents stopped suddenly. Their eyes had locked onto the small wooden token lying in the dust. Ndi, breathing hard, reached into his shirt and pulled out a chain. Hanging from it was another piece of carved wood, the other half of the same Zuro tree. Carefully, he picked up Quaim's token and held it beside his own. The two carvings fit together perfectly, like long-lost puzzle pieces. Quaim stood, confused. Zola stared in disbelief. Chief Damba's eyes narrowed. And then, Ndi's mother clapped her hands, eyes wide with realization. "I knew it," she whispered, turning to her husband with fire in her voice. "You lied to me." Ndi's father stepped forward, trembling. "What is your name, boy?" he asked. "Quaim," the young man replied, still dazed. The elder man's voice faltered. "No, I've been here before," he murmured. "I must speak with your grandmother." Inside, Nay sat quietly on her woven mat. When she saw Ndi's father, her old eyes widened, and she cried out, "Oh heavens, now I can rest. So you finally came, after vanishing like smoke. You left my daughter to suffer shame and heartbreak, and you never came back." The man dropped to his knees. "I meant to return, Na, but when I got back to the city, my father arranged a marriage for me. I left that token with her. As a promise, I thought one day I would come back for my child." His voice broke as tears streamed down his face. Ndi laughed bitterly. "So, the janitor's my brother?" His parents turned to him and said as one, "He is your brother." And more. The father, his chest rising with emotion, looked at Quaim. "I'm sorry, you are my firstborn. My only son. Please, forgive me." Ndi staggered back. "Your only son?" He barked. "What do you mean?" His mother fell to her knees, pleading. "Not now, not here, please." Ndi turned away and stormed out, slamming the wooden door behind him. Inside, silence spread like thick smoke. Chief Damba, who had been quiet all this time, began to cry. "I only wanted to see my daughter. Married before my time runs out," he sobbed. His hand clutched his chest and he collapsed onto the mat. Panic rippled through the room. People rushed to help. After what felt like forever, Chief Damba's eyes fluttered open. His breath was shallow, his voice barely audible. "Zola, forgive me. I wanted to see your wedding while I still could. The doctors, they've done all they can. My illness has no cure." Zola fell beside him, tears soaking her dress. "But father, why would you force me to marry someone I don't love just because of your illness?" She asked through sobs. "Why not tell me? Why not? Trust me." Chief Damba's hand trembled as he touched her back. "I thought I was protecting your future," he whispered. "But I was wrong, so wrong." Zola then turned to Quaim, her eyes pleading. "Please, Quaim, help him. I know the remedy you gave me. It wasn't ordinary. You know how to heal. You can help him too, can't you?" Quaim sat frozen, his mind whirling. His body had not caught up with his heart. Everything, the family, the truth, the collapse, the begging, it all swirled inside him like a whirlwind. He stood and shouted, "Enough! Just leave me alone. I need to think." His voice echoed across the room, and a hush fell. One by one, they left, their eyes filled with pain and questions. Only Zola lingered. "I know you're going through more than anyone should," she said gently. "I'll call you when I get home." And then she was gone. Quaim sat in the silence, staring at the old wooden carving in his palm. "Mama," he said, "why didn't you tell me?" His voice cracked. Naa sighed, deep and heavy. Her eyes held years of buried sorrow. "How could I?" she said. "Your father left your mother in disgrace. The shame he brought, It poisoned her name. I never wanted you to carry that pain." Quaim nodded slowly. The weight of it all pressed on his chest, but now the truth had surfaced, and he could finally breathe, even if the air was thick. A week later, they returned. Chief Damba, Zola, and the man who now called himself Quaim's father. This time, it was the old man who knelt. "My son," he said, voice breaking, "I beg you, help me. I failed you once. Don't let me fail again." Quaim pulled him up quickly. "Please, sir," he said, voice calm but firm, "don't kneel." His heart still carried wounds, but now it also carried strength. Quaim looked at his father, eyes steady, voice low. "Sir, I don't believe in sudden changes of heart. You treated me like dust beneath your feet just because I was poor. And now you want help from the same village boy you once called worthless? No. Find someone from your own rich circle." "Chief." Damba's face filled with desperation. "I'll pay you any amount," he pleaded. Quaim let out a cold laugh. "That's your problem. You think money fixes everything. Tell your money to cure you." But before he could say more, Zola dropped to her knees beside her father. "Please," she begged, tears streaming down her cheeks. "For me, Quaim. Help him." Quaim's heart ached. Her pain was a spear to his chest. He looked into her eyes, and though the fire of anger still burned, it could not outshine the love he carried. Slowly, he nodded Dot from the side. His father stepped forward. "My son," he said, voice shaking, "I know we've all wronged you. Please, find it in your heart to forgive us." Quaim stared at him, emotion swirling. "And what exactly am I forgiving you for?" The man took a long breath. "I came to Mbali during the tar road construction. I stayed for months. I fell in love with your mother. But when she became pregnant, my father called me back. I planned to return, but he arranged my marriage to Ndi's mother. She was already carrying his child. If I refused, I would have been disowned. I chose wealth over you." Quaim shook his head in disbelief. "So after all you've lived, you still tried to chain your own children to loveless marriages? You astound me." He looked from his father to Chief Damba. "It won't be easy to forgive either of you," he said, "but I'll try." With Na's guidance, Quaim began searching for the right roots and herbs for Chief Damba's illness. Weeks passed, and the old man's health began to return. Slowly, his body grew stronger. In time, Quaim's father handed him a share of his inheritance, finally recognizing him as his firstborn son. Chief Damba, filled with gratitude, wept before him. "My son," he said, "you've saved my life. You've shown me mercy. You've proven your strength. I bless your union with Zola. Live freely and in love." Quaim and Zola looked at each other, tears and joy mixing in their eyes. Together, they hurried back to Mbali to tell Na. When she saw Zola again, her face lit up with warmth. The two women spent a week together, bonding like kindred souls. One gentle evening, Na called them to her side. Her breath was calm, but her words carried weight. "My time has come," she said, voice soft as the wind. "I held on to witness your joy. Now I can rest." "No, Mama," Quaim cried. "Please stay longer. I want to marry Zola before you go." She smiled, placing her hands gently on their heads. "He who finds a wife finds a blessing. You are blessed, my son. And you, daughter, you carry love in your spirit. Go forward, both of you, with my blessing." Then she closed her eyes, and with a peaceful breath, she left this world. Quaim wept, the sorrow heavy, but so was the peace. Zola held him, her arms wrapped tight around his shoulders. A month later, Quaim followed Zola back to the city. Chief Damba, now full of health and humility, offered Quaim many positions in his company. Ndi had left for another country, leaving behind a space his father hoped Quaim would fill. But each time, Quaim gently refused. "Thank you, sir, but I have a different path." Still, the chief insisted. "Let me teach you business, Quaim. You have vision. I need someone I can trust. But Quaim's heart was firm. I have a dream, he said. I've seen what my knowledge of herbs can do. I want to build something of my own. A place where tradition and science can heal together. He dreamt of a herbal pharmaceutical venture rooted in wisdom, growing with hope. 1 week before their wedding, Quaim and Zola stood on the balcony of his new penthouse, the tallest building in the Croco city. Moonlight bathed the skyline in silver. The wind whispered like a lullaby. Zola handed him a warm cup of coffee, her eyes alive with joy. My love, she said, squeezing his hand. Can you believe it? We're finally here. Quaim turned toward her, emotion in his voice. It's real. It's happening. I love you. They embraced, standing side by side beneath the stars, hearts beating with peace. When their wedding day came, the village and city came together, elders and strangers, friends and family. The ceremony was pure, simple, and glowing with love. They exchanged vows beneath the sun, and every eye could see the truth in their hearts. Their new home was filled with laughter, healing, and dreams that stretched far beyond the horizon. So the boy once called just a cleaner, the child once left behind. The heart once broken rose like the suro tree he had carried all along, rooted in pain, grown in love. Reaching for the skies,